Hello, everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of a Peritubular scope. This audio podcast as part of a Spectre compass. This audio podcast as part of a Brigadier orbit. This audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production. So, a little bit in around the intro to an intro to this works, to this peer reviewed works, peer reviewed works from peer review works, peer reviewed, sorry, and published works from 2012. So for several years there has been a proliferation in coping studies or investigations through psychological and psychosocial specialties, and to this extent, coping and stress-based research is now or has now been seeing collaborations across the physiological, psychological, and psychosocial fields. Accordingly, a few authors, investigators have worked to put sort of tighter unions or unison between psychology, study of the mind, neurology, study of the nervous system, endocrinology, study of hormones, of varying hormones, immunology, study of the immune system, and physiology and physiology, science, and functioning of living systems. A few investigators have also strived to put forward understanding perspectives through investigations, such as interactions, interactions through laboratory works or investigations, through laboratory investigations, and these uh, these um, these investigations have been crucial or important or pertinent because coping and stress research was once seen as almost two-dimensional, when really coping, stress, and well-being should perhaps be viewed as sort of should be viewed three-dimensionally and across specialties. When and so one of the questions that one of the questions one of the questions as part of this works is when did research works sort of begin in around coping and coping and stress. So one of the sort of fathers or earlier investigators, if you like, around coping and stress related works, was Hans Selye, who discovered that individuals with a variety of ailments manifested many symptoms or symptomologies attributed to the body's efforts to respond to stresses of being ill. Selye identified that when stress occurred for lengthy durations, excuse me, there was a sort of a representative center of reactions disturbing the endocrine system, the stomach, the thymus glands, lymphoid tissues, respiratory, cardiopulmonary, and white blood cells. These were termed as the organs of stress and coping. Hanseni developed the sort of general adaptation syndrome in around 1936, and robust exterior impetuses, both physiological and psychological, prompt the coping react prompt the sort of coping reaction. So Selle's or Hans Selle's general adaptation syndrome had three bases. Number one, alarm reaction, where the body detects an external stress. Number two, adaptation, where the body interacts around defensive countermeasures against a stressor. And then exhaustion, where the body begins to run out of defenses. The general adaptation syndrome may be defined as the manifestation of stresses in the whole body as they develop. And for example, people faced with chronic illnesses can be viewed as traumatic, and is thus where stress in and is thus stress where stress occurs to the whole body. That draws of this audio, this intro to this works, this intro as part of this works, this audio podcast series to a close. The the audio podcast that follows, or that will follow subsequently. We'll look into a little bit more around coping research, more sort of specifically or particularly. So this has been an audio podcast as part of the Peritubular scope series. This audio podcast has been an audio podcast as part of a Spectre compass, an audio podcast as part of the Brigadier orbit, and this audio podcast has been a part of a Storm Robotics production.